All right, the NFLPA 2026 report cards are out. I believe they were leaked over the weekend. We all saw them. We all had fun with it. But I just can't believe the Giants are ranked where they are ranked. I'm not going to tell you if it was high or if it was low until the end. But let's have a little bit of fun with this, because back in 2007, when I was a rookie on the Giants, rocking that 82, we didn't have these cards from the NFLPA. But I want to have a little back in my day moment, and let's compare the now to then. We're going to compare the 2025, 2026 report cards to my 2007 hypothetical report card. So for this year, or the 2026 NFLPA report card, the Giants players rated the Giants' treatment of families as a B-. I got to go back to 2007, and I got to say it was an A- for us. Everybody's families were taken care of. I was on the practice squad, and I would get extra tickets, and I would be handing those things out to, like, friends that I've met, around the city, and I'm handing those tickets out. Everyone had a great time. So I don't know what the difference is between the now and the then, but back then I know everyone's families got taken care of. For the home game field, they got an F-. I'm giving mine an F- plus. Like, what's worse than an F-? Because remember, the old Giant Stadium, that field was absolutely atrocious. If you thought MetLife was bad, I didn't like that field. Wasn't really too high on it. That was obviously the old school, newer, artificial turf. Now, it didn't have the injuries linked to it like MetLife does, but I mean, I don't remember anyone on the team that year saying that or saying anything good about the field. So nothing's really changed there. The food, the dining area, they got a B+. I'm gonna give that an A-. It was small, because remember, our old practice facility was in Giant Stadium. Like, remember that cat that ran around the field that one time, and it was this big deal? We used to see that cat all the time. The cat lived in the stadium, so we were in that stadium, and the dining facility was very small. I'm talking like it was these round tables, and you just have everybody just sitting down, and it wasn't like no Forrest Gump situation where it's like seats taken. What do you mean seats taken? There's nowhere else to sit in here. We're sitting down right next to you, but the food was absolutely amazing. The food there now, absolutely amazing. So I don't know why they got the B+, but I would have gave it, I guess, an A- back then. Nutritionist, dietitian, they got an A-. Back in 2007, I didn't even know what those were. I couldn't even spell nutritionist or dietitian. I ate what I wanted, and that was just, it wasn't until later. It wasn't until after that 2007 season I started kind of trying to take care of my body with what I ate. Shout out to Amani Toomer, because he was the guy that was eating properly, stretching properly, all that good stuff. This year's locker room was a D. I would give the locker room in 2007, I would give it a C. I really missed the wood lockers that we had back in the day, I guess, for aesthetics, a little throwback vibes there. But one thing I hated about that locker room was I was on the practice squad, so we called it the 53+8. We had this little storage room for our lockers, and it was like 8 of us in there, just these small little lockers, these little small white lockers, just all on top of each other. So I would always look like, hey, one, I couldn't wait to be on the active roster, one, for more of a check, but two, so I could have some space when I, in the locker room. For them to get a D, I like the Giants locker room this year compared to the Jets. Jets got a really good locker room. So, I mean, I guess this is the players. This is the players saying it was a D. But for us, I would have gave it like a C+, like a C+ back in the day. Training room, B-. I would have gave about a B. Training staff, B+. If I would have gave about a B+, A-. Ronnie Barnes and those guys were great. Remember, we didn't have too many guys get hurt back in the day. You can give credit to the training staff, or you could just say the football gods were looking out for us that year. But the B+, then I give them a B+, A- then. Weight room, they got a B. That's crazy, because I think the Giants got one of the better weight rooms in the NFL right now. Back in the day, I would compare to all the other stadiums and facilities and what they looked like. I would give it probably about a B-. Small, There wasn't like, an area where you could run in or, do any sort of like sprints or anything in. Again, everything was small at the stadium/facility. Strength coaches, they gave their coaches B+. I'm giving ours a B+ as well. Shout out to Jerry, RIP to Marcus, even our intern, Tim Ream. Did a great job with getting me ready for my following season, that spring, and then that training camp for sure. Loved our strength coaches. I was on the practice squad, so I'd have to start my lift by 6:15 every morning. That was just, routine. Position coaches. Obviously, there is going to be a difference here. You got a 4-13 team versus a team that went on and rallied and won the Super Bowl. So there's going to be a little discrepancy here. The 2026 NFLPA report card, Giants players gave their position coaches last year a B. I'm going to give mine an A-. And in fact, I'm an A. Mike Sullivan, Sully, he's the guy, he's the reason I am a New York Giant. The scouting team did a good job scouting me up at UMass, but Mike Sullivan was the one that drove up from New York to UMass in a snowstorm to watch me and work me out at my pro day at University of Massachusetts at UMass. That year, Sully, you ask Plax, you ask Hicks, Dominic Hickson, Steve Smith, Norris, Sonoris Moss, DT, David Tyree, Toom. I feel like we had the best receiver coach in the country, not only just from the X's and O's, but just from the gems he would drop. He would talk about, life is all about punches, how boxers keep their hands up to roll with the punchers throughout, not only in the ring, but in life. The man was just a walking bar, just an absolute bar. So shout out to Sully. And you can see the Giants loved him because he ended up being quarterback's coach and I believe interim offense coordinator. Offense coordinator, KG, Kevin Gilbride, was our offense coordinator. Giants gave Mike Kafka a C+. Obviously, I got to give KG, I give him a B- for sure. Defensive coordinator, they gave Shane Bowen a D+. Spags is going to the Hall of Fame as a D coordinator. Spags is obviously an A+. You know what that Giants defense did that year, 2007. You saw what he was able to do with that pass rush and get some great play from the back end and that secondary and from that second level within the linebackers. There's Steve Spagnuolo, future defensive coordinator, that's going to be put into the Hall of Fame. That's easy. Special teams coordinator, they gave Michael Golbs a B+. I'm going to give Tom Quinn a B+ as well. Obviously, Jeff Fiegel is going to be a Hall of Fame punter. And then if you look at Dominic Hickson and what he was able to do after being brought in right after training camp, and you saw what he was able to add in terms of just playmaking ability to the special teams. You saw him return the punt again, or the kickoff against the Patriots in that final game, and then he had some big plays throughout the playoffs. That was all Coach Quinn, and then his assistant Thomas McGahee, T-Mac. Those guys, they were unbelievable. I just can't believe that y'all cut me, man. You didn't think I could make the team on special teams? Come on. I wasn't that good of a gunner, but I ran down. I tried to make a couple plays on kickoff. Team travel. This irks me because the Giants this year, they take the United flights, they take the pictures and the suits and what they're wearing and stuff. I thought their team travel would be a lot higher than what they gave, and that's a C. Our team travel back in the day, I was on the practice squad, so I didn't fly to each game with the team. I traveled to London, and then I went to, obviously, the Super Bowl. I'm going to give the team travel back in the day a B+ because the flight to London had my own seat. Obviously, I had to share a row with, Steve Smith was my roommate on the plane. But I can't remember the hotel in downtown London that we stayed in. But it was definitely a 5-star hotel. Looked like a castle. So team travel, and then obviously the Super Bowl, obviously the travel and all that's going to look great. So maybe I'm not the best for team travel, but that's crazy. The last year they got a C. Let's go head coach, general manager in the 2026 NFLPA report cards. They gave the head coach a C, GM a D+. I have to go with my head coach. Obviously, I got to go A-. Tom Coughlin. I walked in there my first year to rookie camp. When I first met Tom Coughlin, I'm thinking that this dude was going to be some sort of drill sergeant, some sort of like crazy disciplinarian. He was, but at the same time, the man was fair. And I remember in training camp in Albany when we were doing one-on-ones or something, and Coach Coughlin, TC, some of the guys called him. I don't know, he said something nice to somebody, and I said something to David Tyree. I was like, man, Coach Coughlin's like, he's a lot cooler than what I expected him to be. And he goes, youngster, this the new Tom Coughlin, because I can guarantee you he won't like that the last couple of years. And that David Tyree laugh. So, shout out to Tom Coughlin. I guess adapting. What does this Michael Strahan would say? Adapting. And to this day, I won't call him Tom. I'll call him nothing but Coach Coughlin because of the great experiences that I had with him. General manager that gave Joe Shane a D+. Like I said, I think Jerry Reese deserves a B+. Look at the offensive line that he was able to assemble. You look at the defense that they put together, especially, some of the free agent acquisitions that they were able to bring in. I think Jerry Reese did a great job with that 2007 team. Brought together, maybe we weren't the sexiest team on paper, but he brought together guys that knew how to play together, how to play well together, and a selfless football team. And then obviously you had stars like Brandon Jacobs, Eli Manning, Plaxico Burress, Michael Strahan, OC. I mean, you got dogs. You got dogs there. So the Giants 2026 report card overall rank, these dudes gave them a 25. Ranked 25th overall. Couldn't believe it. I thought it'd be a lot higher or lower in this case, meaning I thought they'd at least be from the 10 to the 20 range. But when you look at it, I think the Miami Dolphins got the best ranking. You'll see things like the Chiefs have a horrible ranking. The Patriots have a worse ranking than the New York Giants. So it's not all about it doesn't just equate to the wins, but an overall ranking of 25th with Quest Diagnostics training facility, I don't know, threw me off a little bit. But to take it back to my experience, I would give the 2007 season overall rank somewhere between 8 and 18. Remember, back in the day, back in 2007, that new Cowboys Stadium and facility, that wasn't built yet. Neither was SoFi Field for the Rams and the Chargers. Remember, Qualcomm Stadium was horrible. I don't know what the Chargers practice facility was like, but I know their stadium was absolutely terrible. And like the Vikings' new stadium, obviously, their home field is going to get a great ranking because, have you been to that stadium? This thing is A1. So looking back at it, a lot of the teams in the NFL had terrible stadiums and facilities compared to what they are now. Obviously, but my second year in the league, when I was with the Miami Dolphins, everything about that facility and stadium back in the day, I don't know, it's kind of better than the Giants. Outside of the overall food, the cafeteria was better because it was more spacious, but the food wasn't better. Maybe except for obviously the food, but what they call Land Shark Field or whatever that stadium was called back in the day, because that thing had baseball dirt in it from the Marlins during the preseason. And like I said earlier, the Giants' food was just that much better. So good thing for the fact of all these franchises that good report card grades don't translate to Super Bowls, because if so, I'd be out of ring.